Hey, gang, it's Hal.
And Judy.
And we're taking this week off.
Because even us mortals here at Animal Radio need a vacation every once in a while.
So we pulled one of the good shows out of the archive. We'll be back next week with Joan Van Ark.
Wow, you'll remember her from Knots Landing.
So sit back and enjoy the best of Animal Radio.
Preventing pain, fear, and suffering of animals through nationwide education and awareness from all across the globe. This is Animal Radio Network.
Coming up in just a couple of minutes, your opportunity to speak with Joy Turner, animal communicator. You'll actually be talking to your pet. She'll be doing the communicating. She has a special way about her, and she can teach you to communicate. 1-866-405-8405 is the number, and that'll happen in just a couple of minutes. First, I need to clear the lines. Dr. Jonathan Balcom, no stranger to Animal Radio, joining us once again. You are at your office at the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. I'm assuming we're talking about two-legged types, huh?
Yeah, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine deals with certainly a lot of human medical issues, but inevitably animal issues come into that as well.
And they're very important in your life, of course. You know, earlier we were talking with Vicky Halls, who's a cat behaviorist in London, and I had asked her about the correlation between inappropriate elimination and being declawed, and she said, declawed? Well, she wasn't as stunned as that, but
she doesn't see it.
In the UK, this particular procedure is illegal, as it is in most countries, except it isn't here. We're actually calling you today to talk about the animal protection laws, not necessarily this in per se, but other laws that relate to, like in Italy, what the animal protection laws that have just been enacted there. And I'm wondering if you could tell listeners, as well as me, enlighten us a little bit about what is happening.
A couple of things about Italy that I'm aware of. In 1994, more than 10 years ago now, they passed a law that upheld a student's right to object to harmful animal experimentation, including dissections and animal experiments in universities. So a student had a right to object to that and not be required to participate. That was quite progressive. And then just last year, in Rome and Turin, they banned the keeping of fishes in the traditional spherical fish bowl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they also, in the same law, they required daily walks for dogs. Some people are negligent about doing this, and dogs need to get out, need their exercise. So that's required by law now in those parts of Italy.
And I assume you could be fined if you don't walk your dog.
I don't know what the fines are, but presumably there's a penalty for not doing these things. That's right.
What do you think of these kinds of laws?
Well, I'm all for them. I mean, if we have animals in our care, we have responsibilities to them. In the case of animals being harmed in experimentation, well, I'd like to see the day when that ends. But given that it still happens, then at the very least, students and thinking people should have some freedom to not be expected to participate in those things. That actually connects with some positive changes in the law in the U.S. Regarding the use of animals in classroom dissections. About 10 years ago, when I started working on that issue, there was, I think, about 3-4 states at that time that had laws in place upholding a student's right to conscientious objection. And now that number has reached 11, with the most recent addition to that list is Oregon last summer. So if you're a student in one of those 11 states, you're expected to be informed that you have a choice in whether or not you participate in harmful classroom exercises, which includes dissections, because of course animals are killed for those exercises, and the school is required to provide you with a humane alternative.
What type of animals are they using for the dissections?
The biggest number of vertebrate animals is still frogs. It's been estimated about, I believe, about 3 million frogs are killed and used in dissections in classrooms each year. But it's very hard to get estimates because the industry itself is pretty secretive about its activities, and there's no real mechanism in place to do a count, to really estimate. So it's a crude estimate based on the number of schools and the number of students. I mean, a lot of students do more than one frog dissection during their time in biology education. I have to say I did as a student. I didn't like it. I didn't have the fortitude to object in my day. I wish I had, looking back on it now, but it took many years before I had the courage and conviction to speak to my professors, my teachers. So, frogs are the most commonly used. Fetal pigs are quite commonly used. I remember at the back of the bookstore in the University of Tennessee when I was a grad student there 15 years ago, students were required to go back and, pay their $9 to get their clear plastic pouch with a little fetal pig in formalin. Pretty weird thing, especially in a bookstore. Mm-hmm. So that's an issue that continues to be a problem for those of us concerned about animals. And there's so many aspects to that issue. It's not just the humane aspects, but also what message does it send to students when we implicitly harm them for an educational exercise.
Do you feel the United States may be behind the curve?
Compared to Europe, without question. Consider that the great majority of animals, in fact, it's estimated 95 to 98% of all animals killed by humans are killed for food in the farming industry. And in fact, I just today read a chapter by two legal scholars that essentially, to quote them, it really says it all. As far as the law is concerned, and this is the U.S., as far as the law is concerned, farmed animals simply do not exist, which is to say that in the U.S., there really is no proper legal law. There are no proper laws to protect animals. Take the Humane Slaughter Act. It doesn't include chickens. Mm-hmm. And chickens comprise, again, about 98% of all the vertebrate animals who are slaughtered each year. So, the Humane Slaughter Act loses a lot of its bite right there, off the bat.
Doc, I'm wondering if you could tell us, go back to the goldfish in a bowl and the new laws in Italy. Because, there's lots of people that say, boy, that's radical. What is that all about?
Well, that's a good point, Hal, because... you could still really deprive a fish without keeping them in a fish bowl. I think it's a great law. It's very progressive. Obviously, it's still open to abuse, but I'm glad it exists. I think it sends a very good message. If anyone reads my book, Pleasurable Kingdom, they'll come away. Thank you. I hope they'll come away with a better sense of what fish are capable of. Fish have been dismissed for through history as not being feeling, thinking beings, but actually new evidence shows that they are. Just because they don't have the kind of facial expressions and the vocalizations that we relate to. I mean, they've evolved in a very different environment, but studies find certainly they can feel pain, and I argue in my book that if you can feel pain, you can also feel good things, and there's some growing evidence for that. Goldfish favor parts of a fish tank where there is amphetamines, rewarding drugs and this sort of thing. So there's some growing evidence for that as well. So this law in Italy, speaks to that. It assumes, and correctly, I believe, that fishes have quality of life, or they have the potential for a quality of life. They can move away from bad things. They can move towards good things. They have complex life histories. They have needs. They have behaviors that they're highly motivated to perform. And if you keep a goldfish in a barren little fish bowl, you're thwarting them of so many important behaviors. For one thing, just being able to hide. I've seen these fish bowls, and there's nowhere to go. And a little fish with it's evolved around predators needs to be able to hide and get away from them. It's really, really a pretty tough environment to be in when you're really exposed like that, and there's movements outside, maybe the cat up there looking at you, all this sort of thing. I mean, we've seen that in countless cartoons, but the reality is that's a pretty important thing to deprive a fish of, the ability to hide. Foraging, having social partners, these things can be very important to fish depending on the species.
I've actually had a fish that to me, it was fairly obvious that this fish had a personality practically. It played and interacted with the cat. It interacted with me. It raced around the bowl. There was a sentient being to me. Yes. It seemed like there was a sentient being. There
are studies now that show that octopuses have personalities. And that's an invertebrate. So if you can argue for personalities in an invertebrate, I think it helps to state the case for personalities in fish. And they're individuals. And consider that evolution by natural selection acts on variation, individual variability, not just genetically, but how that plays out in the individual. So, naturally, I mean, you're going to find differences among individual fishes. Some, in the case of the octopuses, by the way, some personalities. I mean, it was sort of 3 basic personality types that were described based on just a few octopuses in captivity. If you study them in the wild, you might find more subtleties. But one octopus was more shy, the other one was more outgoing, another one was aggressive. This sort of thing. Mm-hmm. There's an interesting account by the same researcher. She's a Canadian researcher, in which she or one of her colleagues thumped on the top of the tank one day when one of the octopuses was trying to escape, and that particular octopus squirted water at that person for the next several weeks whenever they walked by. So clearly indicating they've got a good memory and good recognition system as well.
Well, we never have enough time with you, Dr. Jonathan Belcom. The book, Pleasurable Kingdom, it's great. I enjoy it. I encourage anybody, if you have a chance to pick it up, to do so. You can get it anywhere, your local bookstore, Amazon, or Barnes & Noble. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Talk with your animals, brought to you by Get Serious, stain, odor, and pheromone extractor. Remarking is the #1 reason pets end up in shelters. Get Serious eliminates that problem. Available at PetSmart and online at GetSeriousProducts.com.
The season of summer begins on June 21st, when our closest star, the sun, reaches its zenith at the highest point in the heavens. We celebrate this longest and most brilliant day of the year as the summer solstice, a time of light, joy, and happiness. This year, during the week of solstice, our biggest star aligned in favor of animals. As a fashion designer, a grocer, and a president made decisions that will dramatically influence and affect the lives of animals all over the world. The fashion designer is Ralph Lauren, and his decision to eliminate the use of fur in his clothing and home collections means thousands and thousands of animals, rabbits, raccoons, foxes, minks, and if the fur comes from China, cats and dogs, will be spared an unspeakably cruel and violent fate. Lauren joins other fashion designers and retail stores, including Ann Taylor, J. Crew, Victoria's Secret, and The Limited, in not using fur in their designs and products. Bravo to you, Mr. Lauren, and to all of those designers and retailers who choose not to clothe their customers with cruelty. May the sun shine ever brightly on all you do. The grocer is John Mackey, founder and CEO of Whole Foods, who made the decision to stop selling live lobsters in his chain of 183 Whole Foods stores. Mackey is a vegan, and although Whole Foods does sell meat and seafood, he stands on the front lines of the food industry in advancing standards for compassionate animal welfare. Thanks to Mr. Mackey's decision, lobsters will no longer haunt the seafood aisle in tanks, as poet laureate Billy Collins describes, filled to the brim with their copious tears. Since the lobster in Chinese myth is a symbol of mirth, Mr. Mackey's decision has given both lobsters and animal advocates everywhere something to smile about. The president is George W. Bush. Although his administration is not known for its support of environmental or animal advocacy legislation, on June 15th, the president's signature created the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands, the 75th national monument in the United States. This new monument, bigger than all other national monuments combined, is located due west of Kauai. Now the largest protected marine area in the world, it is the size of 46 out of the 50 states and is home to over 7,000 species of birds, fish, and marine mammals, including the endangered Hawaiian monk seal and spectacular reef corals. With one stroke of his pen, the president created the largest act of ocean conservation in history. That means a big aloha for the future of finned families. Thank you, Mr. President. May the power of your pen continue to write a brighter future on behalf of animals everywhere. For animals and animal lovers everywhere, let us hope more great news for our four-legged, winged, and finned friends is in the stars. Visit us on the World Wide Web at voiceoftheanimal.org. For Voice of the Animal, happy summer from Rayanne Cumulos.
Hey, gang, it's Hal.
And Judy.
And we're taking this week off.
Because even us mortals here at Animal Radio need a vacation every once in a while.
So we pulled one of the good shows out of the archive.
I remember my first time.
We'll be back next week with Joan Van Ark.
Wow, you'll remember her from Knots Landing.
So sit back and enjoy the best of Animal Radio.
Dogs or cats
horse or emu. Animals are people too.
A Michigan man's practical joke involving his pet snake might land him in jail. 31-year-old James Mell thought it might be funny to stuff a 6-foot boa constrictor in his mailbox to give his mailman a scare. Postal carrier Nakima Anderson was making her rounds when she opened Mel's mailbox to find a snake looking at her. She then saw Mel laughing in his driveway, but she wasn't laughing, and made a complaint against Mel. Federal prosecutors charged Mel with obstructing the delivery of U.S. mail, a charge that could carry a penalty up to 6 months in jail. Mel said he's written an apology to Anderson, hoping to settle the matter. He explained that his snake isn't poisonous and would only strike at something it could eat. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
We join our team investigating a mysterious malady afflicting beloved pets.
Dr. Boulder, what is it?
Strange, Sally. These cats and dogs, they're scratching everywhere.
What could be causing this, Boulder?
Upon closer inspection, I found these...
Tennocephalites felis, the common flea?
Yes, millions of them.
No worry, these pets are saved. Xfleas.com specializes in flea and heartworm prevention. That's www.xfleas.com. The cure is out there.
Your cat deserves world's best cat litter. A new breed of cat litter with a level of performance that makes it worthy of the name World's Best. Made from whole kernel corn, it binds odors naturally, resulting in superior odor control without the use of perfumes. It is truly flushable, clumpable, scoopable, biodegradable, and septic safe. You just scoop it and flush it. It's ideal for use in self-cleaning litter boxes. It is also veterinarian recommended and safe for kittens of all ages. Ask for World's Best cat litter at your grocery store, PetSmart, Petco, and anywhere fine pet supplies are sold.
Do not adjust your station. That's not static. It's a dozen dogs who got the #2 flea control product just 1 week ago, and they're already scratching away. Now hear this. Silence. The sound of a dozen dogs who used Frontline Plus 4 weeks ago. So which dogs would you rather have in a cramped radio booth with you? Hey, give me back my shoe! Frontline Plus. It's waterproof and kills fleas fast all month long. Say goodbye to fleas and ticks.
I'm Susie Kurtz, and I'm listening to Animal Radio. And you should really check out the Farm Sanctuary website, farmsanctuary.org.
First taker. One take.
Oh, looks like you caught me peeking in your bathroom closet. Hi, I'm Be Humane, star of Be Humane Goes Shopping. Perhaps you've heard of me. You've got a lot of stuff that was tested on animals. Shampoo, cleaner, mascara. Did you know that some of these companies still test their products on animals? Throw this stuff out. You see, you have a choice when buying your household and cosmetic products. You can make a difference for animals by only buying cruelty-free products. What? How do you know these products are cruelty-free? Request a free compassionate shopping guide from AAVS. To know which companies are cruelty-free, just call 1-800-SAY-AAVS or visit www.aavs.org and look for my movie, Be Humane Goes Shopping. Don't forget, 1-800-SAY-AAVS or visit www.aavs.org.
Talk with your animals. Brought to you by Get Serious, stain, odor, and pheromone extractor. Remarking is the #1 reason pets end up in shelters. Get Serious eliminates that problem. Available at PetSmart and online at GetSeriousProducts.com.
Preventing pain, fear, and suffering of animals through nationwide education and awareness from all across the globe. This is Animal Radio Network.
All right, let's talk to Caroline and her dog, Maddie.
Hi, Caroline. You're on the air.
Hi, Joy. Thanks for taking my call.
You're so welcome.
So Maddie and I moved into a house about a month ago, and there's a teeny tiny yard, but she's a teeny tiny dog, so it does work out. I would like her to just pee and poop in one area and not the rest, because I would like to use the yard too, and because it's so small, I'm going to step on things. So she's got the peeing part down, but she's not doing the pooping thing. She's still pooping everywhere, and I just kind of wanted to get from her what's going on with that.
Okay, well, she said, well, her first response would have been, well, she is just going in one spot, the yard. So she thought that was like a spot. And then she said she's come to realize that you mean to pick a spot within the yard. She said the only problem with that is she doesn't want to have to poop and then walk over that again to go poop again, which is why she chooses then a different spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What do I do about that?
Well, ideally, she'd like it if she'd poop and you'd go pick it up.
Oh, okay. I can do that. But, okay, I can do that. Can she still keep her pee and the poop to that one side? That whole side area is, I consider, hers.
Okay, she said she's going to want you to walk her around and delineate that for her. So you're going to want to say, okay, anywhere in this space, and show her where this space is.
Uh-huh.
It's fine if you pee and poop because she thinks she's doing pretty well.
She is.
She just needs to understand exactly where is okay.
Okay, so if I just walk around and just say where it's okay, then it'll be okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and she says pick it up because, she doesn't want to walk over top of it. You don't want to, and neither does she.
Oh, I didn't think she cared.
She said, Mother!
Oh, no, I didn't think she cared. Okay, because she licks it. So. Okay.
She goes, please.
Oh, okay.
She goes, Mom, people are listening.
Sorry. I take that back. Very appropriate. I will pick things up better then. Okay.
She'll be happy with that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Well, you've heard us talking about Get Serious, the pet stain odor and pheromone extractor for several months now, and how easily it removes carpet stains left from cat vomit. Now I want to talk to you about a problem dog owners face. It's called remarking. If your dog remarks, you might have thought about banishing him from the house, or worse, taking him to the shelter. You use other cleaners, but your dog keeps going back to the same spot. Don't blame your pet because you used a product that didn't get the job done. End the problem with Get Serious. Pheromones, they're something you can't smell. They draw them back to the same spot. Get Serious is the only product that totally extracts the pheromone so your pets won't be attracted back to remark. Get Serious is recommended by rescue groups and veterinarians, and Get Serious keeps pets in homes and out of shelters. You can find Get Serious at PetSmart and in fine pet stores all over. Visit their website at GetSeriousProducts.com. Again, that's GetSeriousProducts.com.
Every once in a while, there comes along a special group of animal lovers that stands strongly in defense of the voiceless. Animal People is that newspaper for people who really care about the animals. Animal People's published 10 times yearly. The publisher is a nonprofit corporation dedicated to exposing the existence of cruelty to animals and to informing and educating you so that animal lovers worldwide can eliminate such cruelty. Your subscription is $24 a year. Get Animal People's fair and accurate investigative reporting from the industry watchdog. Visit our website at www.animalpeoplenews.org. That's www.animalpeoplenews.org to subscribe to the news for people who care about animals. Animal People. Subscribe today at www.animalpeoplenews.org.
Hi, this is Anne-Marie Lucas from Animal Precinct and the ASPCA, and when I'm not out busting bad guys for abusing animals, I am home listening to Animal Radio.
Hey gang, it's Hal.
And Judy.
And we're taking this week off.
Because even us mortals here at Animal Radio need a vacation every once in a while.
So we pulled one of the good shows out of the archive.
I remember my first time.
We'll be back next week with Joan Van Ark.
Wow, you'll remember her from Knots Landing.
So sit back and enjoy the best of Animal Radio.
Preventing pain, fear, and suffering of animals through nationwide education and awareness from all across the globe. This is Animal Radio Network.
Hi, Hal. How are you?
Very well. We have Brenda Scott Royce on the phone with us, author of Monkey Love. I love it. It's great. Of course, I'm a monkey guy myself. I've always wished that I could share my life with a monkey. Unfortunately, my wife won't allow that.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, well, she says that any animal that can throw his dung at you accurately is not a pet to have in the house or an animal to have in the house. But This is a different story. I don't know how much of this is true or how much is made up. You can tell us. It's a novel. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about Monkey Love.
Well, I'll start by saying very little of it is true. It's mostly inspired by events or people in my life, but exaggerated wildly.
Uh-huh.
And, I grew up wanting to have a pet monkey, as did a lot of people, and it sounds like a lot of fun. But in this book, Holly, the heroine, learns that taking care of a monkey just isn't like reading about them in books or seeing them on TV or movies.
No, what's so different?
Well, for one, you pointed out the ability to fling one's dung. Well, that the monkey in the book, when she is unhappy, that's exactly what she does.
Uh-huh.
And, she also dismantles the phone and makes romantic overtures towards the television set whenever Regis Philbin comes on TV. And
I do that, too.
So does my grandmother, actually.
Well, so how does this primate or how does this monkey meet the main character?
The main character is a stand-up comedian who, isn't quite making it yet in her chosen career, and so she'll do just about anything else to make a living, and she'll do word processing and, a million other things, and she has a degree in primatology, which is something that's very hard to make a living at, and so she gets a call asking if she could babysit this monkey, and she thinks, why not? What could go wrong?
Oh, I can tell you lots of things.
Exactly, and she soon finds out.
I haven't had a chance to read it yet because Judy's been hogging.
It's just one of those easy reads that is just so hilarious. You pick it up and you can't put it down. I think I actually sat through 2 sittings before I read it. The first sitting, I think I went through half the book, and then I just sat down and read the other half.
Oh, wow, that's a great compliment. That's what a lot of people have been telling me. They call me up and they say, you kept me up all night because I wanted to see what happened.
If you're like us and you always wish that you could have shared your life with a monkey, go ahead, give us a call right now, 1-866-405-8405. We have 10 copies to give away of Monkey Love. What label, what publisher is publishing this?
It's NAL, which is a division of Penguin.
Okay, New American Library, yes.
Yeah.
So you can get this just about anywhere, Amazon, online, or in Barnes & Noble.
Borders, yeah. Any bookstore should have it or be able to order it for you.
Well, thanks for bringing so much joy into our lives.
Oh, thank you so much.
If you're making a disaster preparedness plan, don't forget your pets. I'm John Butler. Hurricane season is less than a month away. Losses suffered last year in terms of lives and property damage were enormous. People died because they would not evacuate without their pets. Many pets left behind were lost forever.
About 15,000 animals, mostly cats and dogs, were rescued after Hurricane Katrina. Even if you're not in a hurricane zone, you should have a plan for your pets in case of disasters, such as wildfires, earthquakes, or tornadoes.
Dr. Cindy Lovern, Assistant Director, Emergency Preparedness and Response at the American Veterinary Medical Association.
Don't wait. Plan now for where your pets can go in case of an evacuation or disaster and how to get them there. If they evacuate with you, carry a supply of food and water and a first aid kit. Make sure they wear ID tags and consider microchip identification in case you get separated.
For more disaster preparedness info for you and your pets, log on to avma.org/disaster.
Scoop Free is the first litter box you can leave alone for weeks at a time with no scooping, cleaning, or refilling.
Scoop Free is a revolution in automatic litter boxes. Its disposable throwaway trays are filled with fresh step crystal litter that provide unbeatable odor control and are so convenient. After about 30 days per cat, just replace a disposable litter tray and that's it.
Just load it, leave it, and love it. Available at select pet stores and at scoopfree.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. You can learn more about today's guest at animalradio.com. Log on, learn more.
Hi, I'm Victoria Jackson, and you're listening to Animal Radio.
Look what I'm getting Jim for his birthday.
Ooh.
Candles, bubble bath, all the makings for a romantic evening.
Except for the bubble bath. Did you know that the makers of some soaps test on animals?
Lots of companies test on animals.
Yes, unfortunately, lots of companies test on mice, rats, rabbits, and even dogs. But that's not necessary because no federal regulatory agency requires that animal tests be used to prove that a cosmetic or household product is safe. Also, several alternative tests exist that can be used instead of animal tests.
So how do I know know who tests and who doesn't.
The Compassionate Shopping Guide from the American Anti-Vivisection Society lists over 100 cruelty-free companies. And by changing some of the items you purchase, from things in your bathroom, shampoos, everything for your household.
You mean my actions can actually make a difference?
Yes.
Well, I do want to help the animals.
It's free.
Okay, where do I get it?
Log on to aavs.org or call toll-free 1-800-SAY-AAVS and ask for the Compassionate Shopping Guide.
Preventing pain, fear, and suffering of animals through nationwide education and awareness from all across the globe. This is Animal Radio Network.
Every once in a while, we get a story or a submission from one of our affiliates. And, well, they're animal lovers. You know, that's why they're running this show.
Of course.
And we get this one. This comes from South Lake Tahoe, listening on KOWL, or actually working at KOWL. David Allen, a true animal lover, submitted this.
Like a lot of us who have lost a close loved one, I was going to keep my sadness inside, not mentioning my loss to anyone, especially to my wife and adopted daughter. I know now, for the very first time in my life, just how it feels and how hard it is to convey this sadness to someone who has not yet, fortunately, experienced the loss of someone close to them. Besides, I wasn't going to tell anyone because I fell deeply in love with my lost loved one. Obviously, at my age of being in the latter 50s, I was not going through a midlife crisis, being well past that age and married. But when my adopted daughter, Corvette, gave me a young 1-year-old Savannah monitor lizard, it was love at first sight. He was beautiful to look at, being mostly tan in color with a light brown spot design and with a tan yellow background to his lizard skin. His skin was soft and smooth to the touch. My daughter named him Hissy because Savannah monitors hiss loudly when they are disturbed. I simply called him my buddy. My buddy died recently of unknown causes at the young age of only 2.5 years. Mr. Lizard, as I also sometimes called him, still had a lot of growing up to do. When he departed this world for lizard heaven, he weighed in at 9 pounds and was 31 inches long. My buddy, if he'd been given the chance, would have lived a lot longer and grown quite a bit more in size. In fact, monitors can live to 20 years of age, grow to a length of 4 or 5 feet, and weigh in at 20 pounds. My wife and I had grown rather close to my buddy in the past 1.5 years that he was with us. He spent a lot of his time on weekends lying in bed with me, napping and watching TV. He often could be found on the big couch in the living room, next to or under my wife, covered up all snuggled and warm. He also loved to bask in the sun in the dining room and could be seen at times wandering around outside in the front and backyard clover or sunning himself on our back deck. Mr. Lizard always looked forward to his daily warm bath. He could float and lounge in a warm tub for hours. I imagine during quite a few of those warm baths, he was even sleeping. I wonder what he dreamed about. Speaking of sleeping lizards, when he slept, which was a lot, he slept on a heating pad and wrapped himself up in his blankie. That's right, like most juveniles, my buddy had his very own blankie. He never traveled anywhere without it. A traveling lizard, you say? Yep. Mr. Lizard made the rounds to various locations in the South Shore area of Lake Tahoe, California, and Carson City, Nevada. While traveling, he stayed wrapped in his blankie, nice and warm, inside a small dog carrier. When he arrived at his destination, he would waddle out of the carrier, a leash was put on him, and he was good to go. Everywhere my buddy visited, all loved him, especially children. He'd never bit anyone and hardly gave anyone even a loud hiss. Feeding Mr. Lizard was a joy. First of all, Savannah monitor lizards are meat eaters, no greens for this lizard. My buddy was fed every 2 to 3 days. When he was still a little guy, he was fed crickets and small live mice. It was fun watching him going after the crickets. He would be lunging at them all the while. Crickets would be jumping all around him and on him. As he got older and bigger, he was given his own food bowl, and just like a dog, would come to eat whenever I whistled. That's right. Upon hearing my whistle, he would waddle over to his bowl to find chicken, hamburger, steak pork, and hot dogs. In fact, that lizard could swallow a whole hot dog in one gulp. He was also still eating live mice that were fed to him by hand. From time to time, my buddy was also known to scrounge in the cat food bowls for an extra meal. Unfortunately, After a while, my buddy just wasn't himself. He began to sleep more, and then he just would not eat. Now, this was strange for Mr. Lizard, who was always looking for a meal. After he stopped eating, I immediately took him over to a lizard vet in Carson City, Nevada, to have him checked out. The vet said he was sick, but she didn't know from what. And then a short time later, and no matter what the vet tried, my buddy decided to give up his body and travel to a higher level. Now, if you had asked me if I believed in that reincarnation stuff, I would probably have said maybe, who knows? But when it comes to Hissy, or my buddy, or Mr. Lizard, I know my buddy will be back with us soon, probably as a cat. He always liked our 3 cats.
1-866-405-8405. That's a phone number if you will ever want to share a story with us. You have a submission for Animal Radio. You can also email it to us. Your voice at animalradio.com. All that information, every address that you've heard on the show today, in fact, you can get at animalradio.com, as well as 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year of fresh animal programming, which you can also get on any cell phone in America now.
Wow.
Details at the website. And independent pet stores. Part of the Pet Vision Network, I wanted to welcome all the pet stores, especially the owners of the pet stores that have to listen to us all day long. We welcome you. Give us a call. Tell us about your store, where you are. We want to talk to you, okay? 1-866-405-8405.
You're listening to Animal Radio. You can learn more about today's guest at animalradio.com. Log on. Learn more.
Hi, this is Anne-Marie Lucas from Animal Precinct in the ASPCA, and when I'm not out busting bad guys for abusing animals, I am home listening to Animal Radio.
When you struggle with credit card bills every month, you're not just in debt. Debt is all around you.
I see people every day that are on the brink. They're going to go over the edge, and at the bottom is bankruptcy, and we pull them back.
The people who provide Care One credit counseling services know how to help you get out of debt and get on with your life. So call now.
800-455-5638. 800-455-5638.
We can help you stop the collection calls, pay off your debt sooner, and save up to 57% every month.
You do get to consolidate your payments. You only have to worry about making one payment a month instead of making 3 or 4 or 5.
Call for licensing details. Get out of debt and get on with your life. Gather up your bills and talk to the people who can help, to the people who care. Call Care One Credit Counseling now.
800-455-5638. 800-455-5638. 800-455-5638. This is Animal Radio
Network.
Hey, gang, it's Hal.
And Judy.
And we're taking this week off.
Because even us mortals here at Animal Radio need a vacation every once in a while.
So we pulled one of the good shows out of the archive.
I remember my first time.
We'll be back next week with Joan Van Ark.
Wow, you'll remember her from Knots Landing.
So sit back and enjoy the best of Animal Radio.
Preventing pain, fear, and suffering of animals through nationwide education and awareness from all across the globe. This is Animal Radio Network.
Wow, the phones are ringing off the hook. There's so many calls, I don't know which one to go to. I'm going to go to line 3 here. If I don't get to your call today, I'm sorry. You can call us all week long, 1-866-405-8405. We had a bit of audio I wanted to play. Someone sent in their dog singing to the 5 stair steps, and they did this. They emailed us at yourvoice@animalradio.com. Let me play it. Of course, we love to hear your animals singing. Your voice at animalradio.com. And, of course, you can call us at 1-866-405-8405. Hi, who's this?
This is Amy.
Hi, Amy. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Where are you calling from?
Long Beach, California.
You're listening on Coast, I imagine?
Yes.
And how are you doing? What can we do for you?
Well, I've had a situation recently that I have to say that I've done, and with some hesitation. And now that I've done it, I am so sorry.
Uh-oh, what did you do?
I had my cats declawed.
Uh-oh.
What inspired you to do that?
Well, I have 2 cats. They are 3 years old. They have never been outside. And recently, we bought new furniture. And they decided to switch from their sisal post to the furniture. And we made a decision that we would have them declawed.
And this is a decision made by both you and your husband?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I tried to discuss it with the cats, but they weren't really.
They weren't gonna. I have a feeling I know what they would have said anyway.
Well, I think I do too.
What made you change your mind? Obviously, you can't go back, but for listeners that are contemplating declawing their cat, why do you regret it now?
Well, when I took them to the vet, they did stay for 3 days, which I have to say I'm very glad they did, because had they come home earlier, I would have more than likely felt worse.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a long time. Usually they're there only for about 24 hours.
Yes, well, they kept them for 3 days, and they were not bandaged when I picked them up.
Oh, wow.
But the moment they stepped out of the little cage that I brought them home in and onto the carpet, I mean, they just looked absolutely miserable.
Well, that's actually declawing. People don't understand. They think just the nails removed, but it's actually up to the first knuckle and with the bone and everything of the cat's paws.
And oftentimes it creates problems that are worse than the problems that you initially tried to take care of. The couch, of course, was the initial problem. Sometimes it causes litter box problems, and with litter box problems, of course, if they do inappropriate urination, that's something that I personally think is worse than scratching on the furniture. There are solutions for those of you that are contemplating declawing, ways around getting them to stay off the furniture, dozens of ways. And people say that declawing is sometimes a last resort, and it really is not. There are lots of
there are a lot of alternatives out there. Yes, they have the little clip-on, well, not clip-ons, but nail coverings.
Those silly-looking things.
Yeah, that you can actually put over. They're called soft claws or
something like that.
Yeah, that you actually put over their nails. And
there's also basically training the use of a scratching post.
Mm-hmm.
There's products like sticky paws,
right,
which you can put on furniture. What we do is we have concrete floors and
concrete furniture, and
that pretty much works for us.
Yeah,
but not a lot of people have that choice. So what now?
Well, I tried several remedies prior. I always keep their nails clipped short. I clip them myself. I tried a scat mat, which kept them off of the furniture itself, but it didn't keep them from standing up and clawing the back of the furniture. We did try several methods, but it just the look on their face and it was so pitiful and so sad, and I will never ever do it again.
And you also noticed some behavioral changes.
So far, we've been extremely lucky. They have not done anything other than the litter box. I'm knocking on wood. They've hidden a lot more. They're not as friendly as they were. They're not as playful.
Well,
and
there's some good news to that. And something that humans could learn a little bit, a lesson from, is that they will probably, within time, love you again.
Oh, I hope so.
And because that's the way animals are. They're unconditional love.
And what you can do is spread the word. Tell your friends.
Tell your friend. That's the best thing you can do.
Well, I certainly will. This is the first time I've done it, and I will never do this again. I just cannot go through this, nor could I put my animal through it.
We're going to send you some gifts for your cats.
Well, thank you.
And take good care of them. Show them that you love them lots and lots, and that you made a mistake. And, that can't change it, but tell your friends and people that are contemplating it, and that'll be plenty.
A way to redeem yourself.
Yes.
Oh, I hope so, because I don't think that people realize how painful and how much we are putting these animals through this. And I had never seen it before. I've only have known other people that have had their cats declawed and to see what they do. And people can actually go online, and I did this, unfortunately, afterwards. I should have done it prior.
We're one of the only countries that still do it. A lot of the other foreign countries have banned it.
It's mostly a money thing now, and you can find a lot of doctors will do it for the cash. There's a great division across the country about the ethics behind it. You can go to the website goodcatswearblack.com to learn a little more about decline. Move on from here. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Amy, for
thank you for your call this evening. Hold on a second. I want to get your address so we can send you some goodies for your kitties.
Okay. Nice talking with you.
Thank you.
We got to go. Remember, spay and neuter, never buy from a breeder.
And if you get a cat, don't declaw.
We'll see you next week right here on this fine station for more Animal Radio. Meanwhile, head on over to animalradio.com. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.